Good afternoon and welcome back to Will Bratton WX. We are out here covering severe weather all across the United States today. You will notice a handful of changes. One, you just heard that chime of a new severe thunderstorm warning. So we did fix that. So you can now actually hear when warnings are issued, which is nice. We do have a lot of other changes coming as well. We also made some changes to our presentation here, darkened the map a little bit to help that radar pop and show out. And then we also helped out with we changed the roads so they're a little bit more visible. We made a handful of GIS changes to try and make everything a little more digestible for you. And we're constantly working on updates to our website. We have more fixes for our website rolling out soon as well. And we've got all sorts of stuff going on. So yeah, I'm super excited. Speaking of super excited, one thing I need to do is I need to give Blake. Okay, it's not working for some reason. Add username or ID of the user you would like to add. I need to make it so Blake can control the Nightbot. Get this thing under control, dude, because the Nightbot has been coming for us. The Nightbot has been causing problems. Again, we do have a couple tornado warnings live. Let me just talk about that really quickly before we do anything else. You'll also notice that we changed the way some of our polygons look. Try and make it a little more digestible. But we did have this thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over here west of Alpena out here in South Dakota. And it is continuing to move out of these warning polygons. They're probably going to be allowed to expire soon. There's still a little bit of residual rotation in that area. You can kind of watch the progression of this. It's kind of cycled multiple times. Both these tornado warnings are probably going to get lifted here soon. Yeah, Blake, I tried. Yeah, and there goes one of them. We literally just watched one of those get lifted. The other one has a couple minutes left for Han County, South Dakota, and it's probably going to get lifted as well. So we'll be without any tornado warnings for a little while. Also joining us tonight, we may have Alan with Midwest Weather out storm chasing this evening, as well as our newest signed storm chaser. We might have Mikey out in Michigan. We're going to have an announcement coming for his signing pretty soon. We wanted to get it out today, but unfortunately it just wasn't really possible. We do have a considerable severe thunderstorm warning down here in South Dakota, though. This is near Wessington Springs, headed towards Woonsocket as well. This is for Aurora, Brule, and Gerald counties, or Gerald counties, out here in South Dakota. In Webster County, Iowa, we do have a considerable severe thunderstorm warning as well. That's right over Fort Dodge and just south of. You can see that storm beginning to really kick out some outflow here. So a pretty powerful storm here, kicking out some pretty strong winds. So definitely could see 60-mile-per-hour winds with this one. It's also tagged for that golf ball sized hail. I think especially a couple scans ago, it was looking a lot better in terms of that hail threat. So we can take a little volumetric look here. And whoop, I still have lines on the map. You can see that hail core really towering up, almost reaching 40,000 feet into the air. So a pretty impressive hail core, nothing insane though. Definitely could be producing damaging golf ball sized hail. Down in Texas, we also have a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for Post and Augustus down here. This one is going to be in Garza County. And it's tagged for 70-mile-per-hour winds here. So a very windy one down here in Augustus. Let me see if I can pull some frames back. We can take a look at the progression of these velocities. This is a considerable severe thunderstorm warning that was just put on the map here just now. As it looks like this one might be downbursting, actually. I think this is downbursting here, as it looks like we have these winds splitting off in multiple directions. As you can see, moving both to the northwest and the southeast, some winds coming out of this. So this might be a little bit of a downburst situation near Post Augustus and really up the highway towards Buenos and Southland as well. So that's definitely something to look out for. See, we've already got 20 likes on this broadcast, which is insane. I remember it was like only a week ago when 20 likes for the whole broadcast was an accomplishment. And now look at us. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces in the chat. I see Cruz in there saying, hello, I can't stay, but just saying hi. Congrats on 800 subs, Cruz. That's awesome. If you're not subscribed to Cruz, definitely shoot him a subscribe, as he's on his road to 1,000 subscribers as well. We obviously have Adrian in the chat. He is in my ear tonight as well. We have Pezix in the chat, the goat. We see Michelle out there. We got Seagray. Of course, we have Lorian, one of our other meteorologists, who will be joining us a little later as well. NATO, Aaron, Summer Dragoness, a lot of familiar names, and Redbird. all out in the chat tonight. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to stay weather aware with us, as our tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. And there it goes. Right on cue. Our tornado warning is gone out here in South Dakota. So we are officially without a tornado warning, which is good. Nice little way to start the evening. We got Mason in the chat as well. He's running the broadcast for Midwest weather tonight. And our overlay should update here any second to display that we don't have any tornado warnings active at this time. But yeah, a handful of considerable severe thunderstorm warnings going on. We did just actually get a new downstream considerable severe thunderstorm warning here in Iowa. This one is tagged for 1-inch hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds. We're sort of ish into a radar hole here. So we're looking a little elevated at this storm, around 10,000 feet, but it looks like it does have a pretty powerful hail core with a very large area of 60 dBz targets getting lofted 30,000 feet into the air. So a pretty powerful storm up here, and they did just put a new tornado warning on it. So we are back in tornado warning mode, and I'm sure the overlay just caught up to us not being in tornado warning mode. I saw those velocity scans a second ago, and I was like, interesting. And there it is. So we've got a new tornado warning. This one is going to be for Aurora, Gerald, and Sanborn counties here in South Dakota. So we are looking at elevated rotation here on the map. This is around 8,000 feet, but it is very strong rotation at the upper levels, which could easily translate down towards the surface. If we did have a tornado, it would be south of Wessington Springs and west of Storla. So kind of in this area here, and headed off eventually towards Artesian out here in South Dakota. So we do have a new tornado warning in place here now. And that is kind of expected to be the trend for a lot of the night. A lot of these strong thunderstorms all around the map, and a handful of tornado warnings all over the place. The parameters aren't really there for us to get any particularly strong tornadoes tonight, but we could definitely see numerous tornadoes really all throughout the northern plains and into some areas of the Midwest this evening. I think we already saw, we saw a tornado out in Iowa. I can show this really quickly. Our storm chaser, Alan, before we could even go live, actually got a view on a tornado earlier this afternoon. So you can see it on the right side of the screen here, reaching all the way down to the surface right there. So he had a brief view on a very weak tornado out there near Strawberry Point, Iowa. So that's Alan with Midwest Weather. As you can see their logo down here. If you don't follow them on all platforms, you should definitely do that. And there you can see at the top of your screen now that tornado warning showing up on our overlay. Sometimes the NWS API takes a couple seconds to send us updates. So, but yeah, this storm has definitely been continuing to maintain its mid-level rotation over the last few minutes. So definitely something to watch here as we get through into the next maybe 30 minutes or so in the storm's lifespan. This tornado warning is going to last for another 41 minutes. You can see there. We got Storm Team in the chat. How you doing tonight? NATO Aaron saying, it's funny how your stream blew up last night at like midnight. Yeah, that was definitely something. That was definitely something. There was all sorts of folks watching. We had Reed Timmer watching the stream last night, which was pretty crazy. So it was really cool to see that and see all that support. It was just really incredible. Redwood saying, I can help you with the one I have, and it's faster than the API you're using. Okay, I might have to look into that sometime. Our overlay is still young. This is kind of like the first version of it, but it is working really good for our purposes. It's done a really good job for us. Our production guy, Ben, has done a phenomenal job. But yeah, we can take a look at this hail core again, and it has continued to uptrend. So this storm could easily be dropping golf ball size hail out of it. And let's see what it is tagged for. It's only tagged with 1-inch hail. They may go ahead and end up upgrading this. I think this could be one that could drop up to golf ball sized hail. Yeah, this tornado warning is still in effect, and it is still looking pretty solid here. You can see the mid-level mesocyclone rotating like crazy here. So the updraft here in this case is centered here near the surface, just northwest of Storla. And you can see as it goes up with height, it is a very sheared environment. So that updraft is tilted northward with height. And you can see how strong it's rotating at the upper levels here over like Wessington Springs. But at the surface where we would have a tornado, if we had one with this storm, would be kind of over in this area, just northwest of Storla. And that would be headed off towards areas like Forestburg and Artesian. Yeah, and I am seeing some more feedback that we're getting on ways that we can improve our overlay. So I appreciate all of the insight. Again, this is we are in the early stages here where we're usable for sure, but we got a long ways to go till everything operates super smooth. So we're happy to get any of the help that we can in trying to improve stuff. Yeah, we are using GR2 Analyst version 3. It's a Gibson Ridge product, kind of the cream of the crop. Really, really good radar visualization software. I did want to quickly point out that we do have a handful of pretty big name storm chasers on this tornado warning here in South Dakota, including Bryce Shelton and Ryan Skoll. All sorts of folks out there. So if this one does put down a tornado, it'll likely get confirmed pretty quickly by the National Weather Service. Okay, Blake, I see your ping for me there. Let me see if this will work. Ah, there you go. That worked. Okay. So I've finally been able to give Blake power over Nightbot, so it'll hopefully he can put a leash on that thing in the chat, so it's not just banning you guys for no reason. I don't I don't know what was going on with that. Doesn't the National Weather Service use that? Yeah, this is kind of the industry standard in the professional meteorology field. It's what the National Weather Service uses, and it's what a lot of storm chasers use out in the field as well if they're using a computer out there. We do have a bunch of considerable severe thunderstorm warnings on the map, including these two out here in South Dakota. We also have another one out in South Dakota here. This one is for Butte County. So this is up back near Bella Forge out here. And this one is definitely dropping some large hail, potentially upward of golf ball size hail. You can see this hail core almost reaching 30,000 feet. It's not quite as high in the air just yet, but you can see some of those silvers and grays sneaking in at the bottom of your screen here in the bottom of this window right down there. So those silvers and grays where some particularly large targets are reflecting a lot of energy back to the radar unit. So a pretty powerful storm out here that definitely could be producing some large hail. And if I remember, I think this is a pretty young storm here. I'm going to pull some frames back and take a look at it. But I think this is a pretty young storm, and it could become supercellular in terms of developing rotation. It had that kidney bean shape to it not long ago, and it has had rotation going on with it as it's trying to get itself organized here. The latest scan is probably looking even better with this hail core too. Yeah. Still pretty similar, but a pretty powerful storm out there in South Dakota. That's for Butte County. And of course, where we have our tornado warning, these considerable severe thunderstorm warnings are down here in Aurora, Gerald, and Sanborn counties. Yeah, the problem with Gibson with GR2 is that it is extremely expensive. It's like $250 to buy the program. So it is very, very expensive. How is Madison, Wisconsin looking? Let's find out. It looks like there are, let me use the lacrosse radar here. You definitely have some storms headed your way in Madison. Some of these had been tornadic not terribly long ago, and it was one of these storms in this line that produced the tornado that storm chaser Allen with Midwest Weather saw not terribly long ago. This one does have really strong rotation going on at around 7,000 feet. So that's interesting. That's definitely a concerning one to watch here. as that area of rotation is near Linden or Mineral Point. So that one could end up with a tornado warning not terribly long from now. That rotation was pretty strong at about 6,000 feet we were looking at from the lacrosse radar unit. Right here. Yeah, we're just under 7,000 feet. So very, very strong rotation at the mid levels. If we did have a tornado, it would be down at the surface. It would be down here, a little closer to Mineral Point. As again, these are tilted updrafts here. So a lot of storms trying to ingest some general rotation this evening. What's going on in Nashville tonight? There's actually a lot going on all over the place, but down in Tennessee, you could easily be seeing some strong storms this evening. And this is our website designer who talked about getting possibly some updates for our website coming out this evening as well. He does a phenomenal job with us. He is based in Nashville. And so these storms for you, Josh, you could definitely be seeing gusty winds with these. That is the main concern down in Nashville. I'm not worried about really anything else except winds. I think you're definitely going to see a lot of storms roll through the area that could be producing up to 60, maybe getting towards 70-mile-per-hour winds. But in general, you'll be okay. It's just very gusty winds and some stronger thunderstorms in your area. I don't know exactly where you're at in Nashville. I can't remember what you said in terms of like what region right around Nashville you're in, but definitely some stronger storms in your area for now, and that will continue to be the trend for a little while this evening. All right, we're going to go back to our tornado warning out here in South Dakota for Aurora, Gerald, and Sanborn counties. How is the Sioux Falls radar not closer? It surely is. That's got to be a bug. Anyway, we still have this rotation here that is along this line of thunderstorms, and it is headed out this direction, eventually towards Artesian. So if you're in this tornado warning, definitely make sure you're putting yourself in a storm shelter or in some sort of a basement if you have one. The interior-most room of a sturdy structure, whatever you can do to put as many layers between you and the tornado as possible. We don't have a confirmed tornado on the ground at this time, but we could easily get one with this storm. In Colorado, we also have a new severe thunderstorm warning in the same area that's gotten a bunch of powerful storms the last couple of days. This is down in Prowers and Baca counties here near Two Buttes down in Colorado, the very southeasternmost corner of Colorado here. And it looks like around Denver, we actually have a couple of storms spinning up, possibly associated with the Denver convergence vorticity zone out here. So just a couple of pop-up showers, it appears. That was weird. A couple of back-to-back notifications there might be something to fix. We do have more hot fixes coming for our overlay here not long from now, but we did just get a new extension on this tornado warning. So this is now for another 46 minutes we have in place here with a storm capable of producing a tornado. And it was located the last 7 miles of south of Lane. And they have it tagged as moving east at 35 miles per hour. Could have up to 1-inch hail in there as well. We got Ashley in the chat saying she's northwest of Madison. It is very dark out. Yeah, I feel you. It is, there are lots of storms all over the place this evening. I am going to try and deploy some fixes here for our overlay in just a minute. So you'll have to bear with me as we try to figure this out. Okay, into here. Bum, bum, bum. Need to rename this. Rename this. Okay. And then I need to hit the refresh button here. And we should have some changes that just got rolled in live here. I'm going to double check on this. Okay. We should have had some changes that just got rolled live here That should roll out a couple of hot fixes. I do need to quickly add back these population numbers at the bottom right. Give me a second as I add those back in. Okay, there's those. And yeah. Okay. So that should have deployed a couple more hot fixes here. To be determined. we deployed like a bunch of hot fixes all at once. So to be determined if everything worked smoothly or not. Anyway, it's working okay. But we're constantly workshopping the code on this thing, trying to improve it to the best of our ability. So again, we do have a tornado warning in place for Aurora, Gerald, and Sanborn counties down here. With Nightbot, you just got to go to your dashboard and settings in there, and you can add managers to answer Cruz's question. Okay, out in Montana, we have a severe thunderstorm warning I want to quickly talk about for a little bit of a stronger storm. Let me zoom in. A little bit of a stronger storm here near Moorhead. This one could be producing up to 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Nothing too unbelievable down there. In South Carolina, we have a couple of stronger storms as well. Really just like a little bit of a bowling ball beginning to push down to the south here in South Carolina. So that one is near areas like Bradley, Kirksey, and Troy. Also Epworth and Verderi. Give me one quick second. All right. Sorry about that. We did get another tornado warning down here in South Dakota. So this is the northern part, which is kind of what I was looking at a minute ago. I don't know if you guys kept seeing me zoom in on this tornado warning and slightly pan to the north a second ago. As I was like, man, it's unfortunate because we're in a radar hole here and it's a little difficult to see. And now we have aliasing issues going on here. But you can see a couple scans ago, this rotation was very, very strong near Lane, Woonsocket, and Alpena here. And it looks like our tornado warning to the south is definitely still applicable as well. So definitely numerous areas along this line of thunderstorms here where we could see a tornado as it pushes towards Artesian, Howard, Carthage, Oldham, Ramona, Madison eventually. All sorts of areas out here that are eventually going to be in the path of this storm. Immediately right now, we are in Beetle, Gerald, Sanborn, and Aurora counties here in South Dakota. We got Rain in the chat saying, hello, good to see you, Rain. How are you doing this evening? Okay. And I have some good news also. So I mentioned last night how I'm using these these are like half broken crappy earbuds that I bought like at, I think it was like a gas station or an airport like a year or two ago, because I have nice headphones, but I'm not going to wear like full headphones while I'm broadcasting, and I didn't actually buy good earbuds. I finally bought good earbuds. They'll be here sometime this weekend, probably on Sunday after the 4th. So that's great. Those will be in. We do have still this considerable severe thunderstorm warning near Fort Dodge that I want to check in on, as this one could be producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. Looks like it has a little bit of low-level rotation on the back side of it as well, only around 3,500 feet. This is pretty weak rotation here, but this is a pretty strong towering thunderstorm. So if it gets organized here as it heads towards areas like Webster City, it could become tornadic. So definitely one to watch. We did just get another tornado warning. Basically, this entire line is capable of producing a tornado here in South Dakota. So we have multiple little areas of rotation notching out in South Dakota. So this warning is now for Meade County. So we have 4 different tornado warnings in place along this line. Definitely a concerning situation, really, if you're anywhere out here in central eastern South Dakota, as this line is just going to continue blowing on through into through that direction towards the east in South Dakota, eventually towards Minnesota. So a total of 4 tornado warning polygons on the map right now, but really like 3 different areas of concern for rotation and possible tornadoes. But that again could easily cycle anywhere along this line as it evolves. So this one is still making its way off to the east, eventually towards Artesian and Carthage and what is that? Iroquois, Iroquois, Iroquois. I don't know. We did actually just get a destructive severe thunderstorm warning put in place here near Platteville, Belmont, Calamine, and Darlington in Wisconsin. So this is in southwestern Wisconsin. This is tagged with 80-mile-per-hour winds here with this storm. And I don't know where that came from. Okay, so we had an observed wind gust of 78 miles per hour at the Platteville Airport. So this is a very, very strong thunderstorm here. I was going to say we don't have a good radar picture on it, so it would probably take an observation, and that is what we have. So a confirmed destructive severe thunderstorm warning also here, headed towards a couple largely populated areas here in Wisconsin near Darlington. And this is out here in Lafayette County in Wisconsin. Back near Fort Dodge, I'm going to check in on this storm and see if we've got any kind of an update here. Nothing crazy yet. No real updates on it. And then we'll go back to our tornado warnings down here in South Dakota. Yeah, a bunch of areas of rotation. You're going to see all these NROT values really just popping up pretty high. Again, this is at the upper level, so these aren't exactly co-located with where these tornadoes would be at the surface. But in the upper levels, we're looking at like 7,500 feet here. Or so I guess the mid levels really. At the mid levels, these are some very, very robustly rotating updrafts here. So some pretty strong thunderstorms rolling through South Dakota. Can't predict the month of July. I mean, yeah, a few tornadoes are possible, but not likely at all. Well, July is always, really every single month is pretty active somewhere in the United States. That's kind of one of those things with it just being such a large country and having such a variety of climates. I mean, you think about even just the lower 48, excluding what's going on out in Alaska and Hawaii, just the lower 48 has extremely varying climates. I mean, we have swamps, we have deserts, we have mountains, we have lake effect snow, we have, tropical weather, we have mid-latitude cyclones going on that bring us tornadoes. We have all sorts of stuff. So it makes the United States one of the most interesting places in the world to cover weather. Something you will see here is a lot of aliasing issues going on. So that is when basically these winds are so strong up here that it is difficult for the radar to discern exactly what direction they're going and how fast they're going. So you run into these aliasing issues where it looks like your data is all contaminated because it is. We also have some bright banding going on, of course, near the freezing layer. Yeah, we are going to be live for the rest of the evening here tonight. So possibly from now until like maybe 11 or 12 this evening, depending on how late these storms stay active. We'll be bringing everything that you need to know. Thank you for the South Dakota coverage, of course, of course. We're out here trying to cover everything we can. And again, these tornado warnings in place are for Beetle, Gerald, Sanborn, and Aurora counties in South Dakota. So we will continue to stay with these. And again, I'll show you this again. There are a lot of there are a lot of storm chasers out there. on this. So if we get any confirmed tornadoes, we'll probably know about them pretty quickly, and these warnings will get confirmed pretty quick. I want to check in on the destructive severe thunderstorm warnings that we have down here in Wisconsin, as these storms are definitely looking pretty strong. They are headed towards areas like Dodgeville, Mineral Point, Calamine, and Darlington. So this is a pair of severe thunderstorm warnings here, or destructive severe thunderstorm warnings. And these are for Lafayette and Iowa counties here in Wisconsin. And for a little bit of a reference point, this is where Madison is, a very populated area. And these two severe thunderstorm warning polygons are just to the southwest of Madison and headed off towards the east northeast. We did just get a larger downstream considerable severe thunderstorm warning ahead of this line to try and give a heavier lead time in this populated area. So this is for Dane, Greene, Iowa, and Lafayette counties now, heading all the way towards Madison. And these are tagged for 70-mile-per-hour winds, and the ones near Dodgeville, Mineral Point, and Darlington are tagged for 80-mile-per-hour winds. We did have an observed 78-mile-per-hour wind gust in Platteville not long ago. All right, back to South Dakota, where we have 3 tornado warned cells, 4 tornado warning polygons on the map here. Logan saying, sorry, I missed a whole 36 minutes. Evan is back. Yes, Evan is broadcasting today. I did see that. That is good to see him back. His broadcast was doing really well. He was able to go live a lot earlier than I was, which was definitely good for him as well. And good for the folks in that area, as I did have work today, so I wasn't able to go live as early as I would have wanted. But we are here now, and we are tracking, again, 4 tornado warning polygons, really 3 different areas where we could see a tornado out here in Wisconsin. Sorry, not Wisconsin, out here in South Dakota. In Wisconsin, we have the destructive severe thunderstorm warnings that are rolling through Lafayette, Iowa, and Dane and Greene counties in Wisconsin, southwestern Wisconsin, eventually getting towards the Madison general area. And back in Wisconsin, we did actually just get on this hook that was forming out here. We did just get a tornado warning there as well. So we now have another tornado warning on the map. This one is in Wisconsin for Iowa County. So back in Iowa County, we are looking at near Dodgeville, or just southeast of Dodgeville, and near just west of Hollandale, just west of Dalyville. This is a strong thunderstorm that could produce a tornado here. We are looking at around 6,500 feet in the air. And weather spotters have reported a funnel cloud near Ridgeway. Well, that's interesting. So possibly a little bit of an embedded tornado within this storm near Ridgeway. So that's something to watch. So we could have really a tornado like right over here near Ridgeway. We could end up with a secondary area of rotation on the southern end of this where it looks like it's trying to hook out. And that one would be moving off towards Hollandale and Dalyville. But our main area where we've seen a funnel cloud, and that's what prompted this warning, was just near Ridgeway, and that one's headed towards Barnveld. And I apologize for all the typing you will hear at different times tonight, as we are constantly trying to improve our overlays and working on updates to our website, updates in our Discord server, all sorts of stuff going on. So I do apologize for that, but that will not stop us from creating great live coverage of all the severe weather around the country, as we have 5 tornado warnings, 2 destructive severe thunderstorm warnings, 6 considerable severe thunderstorm warnings, and 23 regular severe thunderstorm warnings on the map right now. So absolutely monstrous. Monstrous amount of stuff going on right now. No flash flood warnings though, which is nice. Is that an outbreak of severe weather? Yeah, I think I would call it a severe weather outbreak. I don't know if I wouldn't call it a tornado outbreak, especially not yet, but definitely an outbreak of general severe weather for sure. We just got another tornado warning put down here in Wisconsin as well for Iowa and Lafayette counties. So this is just south of our original tornado warning, as we have another area of rotation just west of Colomine. And I don't think this one has any reports on it. Yeah, this is just a radar indicated tornado warning, which is very warranted, because at 8,000 feet we have a pretty strong rotating couplet here, and especially it's a very tight rotating couplet, regardless. So there we go. They have this moving east at 33 knots. They have this one moving east at 20 knots. Interesting, but a pretty strong couplet nonetheless here in both of these storms. So either of these could end up becoming tornadic. Is there instability in Michigan's atmosphere, and do you think Lake Michigan will weaken the storms or heighten them for Michigan? Usually the lake will add. So there's a lot of things that happen with the lake. And I'm not going to get too into detail, but one of the main things there is that water and land do not heat equally as quick. It takes a lot more time to heat the surface of the lake than it does to heat the surface of the earth. That being said, the lake does provide a lot of extra moisture, obviously, that the surface of the general earth does not have. So there's a lot of different factors that play into it, but there is instability in Michigan. You'll probably get some storms out there. I'm not expecting anything particularly insane out in Michigan by any stretch. Probably not any tornadoes, but you can't entirely rule one out. It would definitely surprise me, though. I'm already surprised by the way that this event is performing, in all honesty. This event has been performing quite well. As we do have pretty strong rotation here with both of these cells in Wisconsin. I'm going to jump back to our tornado warnings in South Dakota, though, for at least a minute here. As we do have 4 different tornado warning polygons on the map here in South Dakota, and there's a lot of aliasing issues going on here. So what you're going to see is all sorts of little areas where it looks like rotation is possible, and it is. It is possible in pretty much all of those areas. Especially on the northern half of this line right now. That is where I'm the most concerned. The southern part doesn't concern me particularly as much right this second, down near Artesian. But west of Carthage out here, these areas and near Huron, those definitely bring a little bit more of an exclamation point in my mind right this moment. We do have these hail-producing little supercells that were firing off north of Rapid City here. These could, it looks like the environment isn't quite as sheared, so I don't know if these are going to be able to get organized enough to sustain a tornado here. Or at least the environment might be plenty sheared. They're not taking advantage of that shear, though. You can see there isn't a ton of rotation going on at the low levels with these. There is some, just not very much. So these are also pretty young, though. They've got a little ways to go before anything could happen with them. Out in Wisconsin, though, I don't know why it takes me to every wrong radar site pretty much compared to where I want to go. As I do have some great news that some of our changes to our website are getting rolled out right now. So some more improvements coming to our website literally right now. being rolled out from our director of a website development. Again, just over Ridgeway, west of Barnveld, Blue Mounds, eventually towards Mount Horeb, we do have an area of rotation riding the highway. Down near Calamine, we have another area of rotation that is headed towards Blanchardville. So 2 different areas of concern down here in Wisconsin. Is 6 the most tornado warnings you've ever seen while streaming? It might be. Yeah, it's definitely not the most that I've tracked at any point. I've tracked some pretty big outbreaks before, but not while live. This may be, I don't know if this is the most we've ever had while live, to be honest with you. It might be. It's definitely up there if it isn't. But yeah, this is a couple of strong areas of rotation out here. Definitely a very, very threatening situation for areas like Barnveld, Ridgeway, Blue Mounds, and eventually towards Calamine, Waldwick, and Blanchardville as well. And this is in Iowa and Lafayette counties in Wisconsin. Back into South Dakota, we did get a destructive severe thunderstorm warning put on the northernmost part of this storm. That is going to be tagged. Some of these winds are looking actually pretty ridiculous. So these are tagged for up to 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts here. As we did have about 10 minutes ago, a 90-mile-per-hour wind gust was reported in Huron, South Dakota. So that actually might have been associated with a tornado. It's definitely possible. Or no, that was 10 minutes ago, so probably not. But some very, very strong winds out here in South Dakota. So we do have potentially up to 90-mile-per-hour winds for Beetle and Kingsbury counties in South Dakota. So... and again, our main risks tonight are going to be a giant windbag, which is kind of what we're seeing right now, and embedded tornadoes, plus a couple discrete supercells are definitely possible. And we're seeing all of those hazards put in place right now. Down in Tennessee, we are still watching for a lot of storms that will try to downburst a little bit and create some really strong damaging winds, upwards of 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour. In Tennessee and even inching into Kentucky right now, we can see we have a bunch of those severe thunderstorm warnings active in Tennessee. Cheatham, Montgomery, Stewart counties, as well as, let's see, what else do we have in Tennessee? And Robertson counties. And in Kentucky, we have Todd County. In the Carolinas, we also have some thunderstorms going on, and in Georgia. Again, and these are all of your storms that are moving right to left. So these are those storms where we have this high pressure system in the middle of the eastern United States that's causing all of this clockwise spin, where in the south, those storms are going from east to west, and in the north, we're getting stronger severe weather that's going west to east, which is more traditional, of course. That's what we're more used to. But yeah, these storms out here in Wisconsin definitely look pretty threatening. We still have this area of rotation right over Ridgeway headed towards Barnveld, and then the secondary area of rotation near Calamine headed towards Blanchardville. And of course, in South Dakota, we do have our warnings out here for Sanborn, Beetle, and Aurora and Gerald counties here in South Dakota. So very, very widespread tornado warnings going on right now. Yeah, hopefully we don't get another one of those 131 mile per hour wind gusts. That would be absolutely awful. Can produce catastrophic damage with those. I will say this area of rotation near Huron is definitely pretty strong here in South Dakota. And that is where we saw this thunderstorm produce 90 mile per hour wind gusts. pretty tight couplet here. It looks like maybe that inflow is getting choked off a little bit, which would help. We're probably going to get a new tornado warning for this, though. Seeing hopefully the storms in Montana aren't rotating. Yeah, we can check in on Montana for Powder River County down here, as these kind of look like they are beginning to dissipate a little bit. It's unfortunately in a radar hole. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on there. All sorts of storms out here in South Dakota that don't look terribly threatening to me. But of course, in South Dakota, again, we have 6 tornado warnings on the map right now. 4 in South Dakota and 2 in Wisconsin. All right, we're going to check in on Wisconsin for Iowa and Lafayette counties. I said South Dakota. Oh, I did? Are you sure? We were looking at Montana. We were looking at Powder River County in Montana here. This was at the border of Wyoming. Maybe I said South Dakota. Interesting. South Dakota's on my mind, as that's where we've got tornado warnings right now. So maybe that's what it is. But again, we do have multiple tornado warnings here in Wisconsin as well. And it looks like the couplet near Calamine is actually tightening up and uptrending here. Meanwhile, the one near Ridgeway looks to have really dissipated. So the northernmost tornado warning here will probably be allowed to expire. And that one is the one that's in Iowa County and in Iowa County. But then this one down here for Iowa and Lafayette County for Calamine, this one's probably going to be allowed to continue, as it looks like this rotation has uptrended here. And this rotation has most certainly uptrended here, and it's headed towards Blanchardville. So if you're in the path of this storm here in areas like Blanchardville or Waldwick, you got to make sure that you're taking this one seriously. You need to be in the lowest floor, interiormost room of a sturdy structure. Put as many walls between you and a possible tornado as you can. We don't have a confirmed tornado on the ground, but there could be one at any point with this storm. This is pretty strong rotation here, just to the north of Calamine, excuse me. All right. Out in South Dakota, we again still have tornado warnings active for Beetle, Sanborn, and Aurora and Gerald counties. Now, I will say that out here, near like Wessington Springs and Storla, areas like that, you are in the clear now. You are outside of, you're behind the storm essentially. We do have multiple destructive severe thunderstorm warnings now in place here. I think did this one just show up? Yeah, this one just showed up a minute ago. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings that are destructive tagged in place here in South Dakota. So these are going to be for Beetle, Kingsbury, Lake, Minor, and Sanborn counties. And all of these are tagged for 90-mile-per-hour winds. We did have observed 90-mile-per-hour winds on Mesonet, and also another observed one in Aurora from ASOS. So we have a lot of very, very strong storms on the map right now. And again, we're sitting here with like 35 severe thunderstorm warnings and 6 tornado warnings on the map. All right, let's check in on Wisconsin for Iowa and Lafayette counties here if we've got a new radar scan, and it looks like we do. Okay, so the one near Barnveld is definitely looking like it is kind of falling apart, that rotation up there. It's still possible we could see a brief spin up tornado, and either way, you could still be seeing 70 to 80 mile per hour winds in there potentially. It is tagged for 70 mile per hour winds, but these are some very strong storms. And then down near Waldwick, that rotation has really started to fall apart the last two scans as well. So that's good news, but there is still rotation there near Waldwick. So definitely make sure that if you're in this tornado warning polygon, you're taking it seriously. As they did just go ahead and shrink down this tornado warning polygon a little bit here to cut out the western half of it. So areas like Belmont have been fully removed. The destructive severe thunderstorm warnings have also been lifted for these cells, but there is a broad severe thunderstorm warning tag considerable with 70 mile per hour winds ahead of this line. And if we turn on our velocities here, you can just see, I mean, these winds being sustained at 7,000 feet are pretty fast. We're looking at possibly up to 60 plus miles per hour being sustained. So gusts could easily be going a lot higher than that. In South Dakota, one of our tornado warnings was lifted. That was the original one out there, but we do have 3 warnings still maintained out here in South Dakota. And these are going to be for Beetle and Sanborn counties. Are the Wisconsin rotation spin-up tornadoes or supercell based? They're kind of embedded in that line. They're kind of semi-discrete cells. So you do have one mesocyclone that is trying to produce those, where those areas of rotation are forming. So you could probably call it supercell based a little bit more than QLCS type event. But it's kind of in that mucky middle area. For me, it looks like the most concerning area of rotation right now is just west of Yale, or near Clover, down here in South Dakota. This looks like the greatest area of concern for me at the moment in South Dakota. But again, regardless of a storm here, or of a tornado, these are extremely powerful severe thunderstorms capable of producing 80 to 90 mile per hour winds here in South Dakota, which are rolling through Beetle, Kingsbury, Lake, Minor, and Sanborn counties. Yeah, a QLCS is essentially a line of thunderstorms. It's a quasi-linear convective system, as DeLorean has put in the chat there. All right, and this tornado warning near Huron has been shrunken down a little bit. It really ought to just, if they're going to maintain this, they may as well extend it a little further out, in my opinion, towards Yale. You can see where this upper level rotation is. Again, we're looking like 5,000 feet in the air, and this is a tilted updraft, right? So at the surface, the rotation would really be like kind of back towards here, most likely. But this storm is beginning to move out of that polygon. If they're going to maintain this warning, they ought to issue a new warning, in my opinion, here pretty soon. The other 2 warnings don't look quite as concerning, but we could still see a spin-up tornado really at any point. All right, back into Wisconsin. We are watching storms continue to plow on through. We do have multiple areas where rotation is still ongoing and possible. Maybe a little bit near Mount Horeb. That looks like something to me. As that is beginning to uptrend over there near Mount Horeb. And then down here near headed towards Blanchardville, we do have this whole area really where we could see very quick development of a tighter rotating couplet that could produce a tornado. I highly doubt it's producing a tornado right this second. It would need a couple of minutes to very quickly cycle up, but it doesn't take long. I mean, this could very easily by the next radar scan be looking significantly better. So if you're in Blanchardville, you got to be taking this one seriously. Do you think Mukwanago, Wisconsin, will get hit? Where even is that? I will find it. I feel like it was. No, that's. I don't know exactly where that is. Small town near Elkhorn. Excuse me. Uh, there's Elkhorn. Well, I'll just go off Elkhorn as a reference point. In general, yes, like you're probably going to get some thunderstorms. It's not going to be these ones. They're probably going to end up to your north. But it's going to be these ones down here that are still out in Iowa that might make their way up towards Elkhorn eventually here in the evening. Oh, there it is. It's near the radar unit. How about that? Yeah, these storms are probably not going to directly hit you there. Maybe the bottom part of them, like some of these storms, may hit you as they come up eventually towards the Milwaukee area. But these current ones that are tornado warned are probably not going to be hitting you there. All right, back in South Dakota, we do still have these 3 tornado warnings for Beetle and Sanborn counties out here, where I do think that this rotation near Yale is still something. This is quite the bizarre cluster of storms here that easily could be producing 90-mile-per-hour winds. So if you're in the path of these storms out here in Beetle, Kingsbury, Lake, Minor, and Sanborn counties, you definitely need to be taking this one seriously, tornado or not, because this is a very, very powerful storm. What's up? Okay, so we are looking at this area out here in South Dakota as possibly being the most concerning, really, over the next 2 hours or so for tornadic development. So this is definitely one that we're going to watch out here in South Dakota. So this is going to include areas like DeSmet, Haiti, Esteline, Clear Lake, maybe even Watertown, Brant, and then possibly crossing just into Minnesota. So that is the most significant area of concern. And our middle tornado warning there has just been lifted. So we are down to 2 tornado warnings here in South Dakota. I would imagine the other 2, the one down in Sanborn County may get lifted. Or yeah, the one down in Sanborn County might get lifted here in just a minute as well, as that one looks to be a lot weaker. Shows there could be another QLCS line moving through Wisconsin, not this around 10 or 11. Is that true? Yeah, we could definitely see multiple rounds of severe weather really throughout all of like the Midwest and the central or the northern plains this evening. I can go ahead and show. Give me a minute. Okay, and there we go. So that other tornado warning was lifted there in Sanborn County in South Dakota. So we're just down to the one warning in Beetle. But again, this rotation is really not in that warning at all. It's more to the east near Yale. So we might see a new tornado warning put in place for that, as this storm still does look pretty threatening near Yale. We're going to check in on Wisconsin for the time being, though. In Wisconsin, you said? Or in the South Dakota ones? Okay. Yeah. We are also expecting that over really the next hour or so out here in southeastern Wisconsin is probably going to be our main concern for potential tornado development as well. So those are our primary two areas on the map, is down here in southeastern Wisconsin and then eastern South Dakota. So yeah, we are definitely expecting a second wave of storms to possibly roll through the southern part of Wisconsin into the overnight hours, and then yeah, we could easily see more storms beginning to develop this evening in Wisconsin as well, around 10 to 11 p.m. I'm not so sure about like a full, type of QLCS type of event here. That's definitely something to watch. But yeah, we did have our other tornado warning in South Dakota get lifted. We might get a new one for the rotation near Yale, as it does look particularly concerning to me. We're only looking about 5,500 feet in the air. I mean, this thing's wrapping up like a present on Christmas. This is pretty threatening storm here. So yeah, over the next 2 hours or so, this area really out in this circle is going to be the greatest risk for tornadic developments. And then that's going to last, like I said, for maybe another 2 hours, maybe getting towards 3 hours. And then in Wisconsin here, we're definitely looking at southeastern Wisconsin towards Milwaukee as an area where we could see a couple tornadoes as well over the next hour. Any storms coming to Iowa? Yeah, you'll probably get some storms down in Iowa for sure. There's already a bunch of storms rolling through Iowa, as we can see on the map here. Tons of storms all throughout central and northern Iowa. Looks like northeast of Des Moines, we do have a large cluster of storms starting to form here. With most of these are just going to pose a wind threat. The one near Fort Dodge is still discreet enough where it could try to become tornadic. It is not tornadic right this minute, of course. So if you're in Waldwick, you're definitely in the clear now. Calamine, same thing. But if you're in Blanchardville, Argyle, New Glarus, these are headed right for you. We do have this other area of rotation here, just north of Mount Horeb, that could definitely be something to look out for as well. All right. Again, these tornado warnings in Wisconsin are surrounded by a considerable severe thunderstorm warning with up to 70-mile-per-hour winds and a 1-inch hail. So definitely something to pay attention to. Down in Tennessee, we're also looking at a bunch of strong storms here near Clarksville. This is right near the border of Tennessee and Kentucky, northwest of Nashville. These storms are moving in a strange direction, you could say, as they are moving. As they are moving kind of from southeast to northwest. And you can see a lot of them are downbursting. This is really cool. I want to show this as clear as I can here on radar. What you're going to see is a circle that looks like this, that's going to form and begin to push out in all directions from these storms. So these are these downbursting thunderstorms here that are basically just pushing out mass like crazy. You see these lines that like, for example, right through here, and we go a few frames, and they come back, and we go forward, and they shoot out like crazy. So these storms are very, very powerful wind producers. As they downburst, all that mass just comes down to the surface, and it spreads out like crazy. So These are ones that we need to watch if you're out here near Clarksville, Dover, Cumberland City, anywhere northwest of Nashville or west of Nashville, areas like Waverly as well. All of these storms are tagged with 60-mile-per-hour winds, and they're also dumping tons of rain, so flooding could easily be an issue there as well. All right, back to our tornado warnings in Wisconsin. They were shrunken down just a little bit. So we are looking at two much smaller tornado warnings now, and Waldwick, Calamine have been fully eliminated from the warning polygons. If the National Weather Service chooses to keep these warnings going, we are going to see a new warning that probably looks something like this, stretching out for areas like New Glarus, Monticello, and Dayton, maybe Belleville as well. All right. Iowa, Wisconsin is so diabolical. Yeah, I know. Literally, we're dealing with Iowa County, Wisconsin here is where this tornado warning is at. Are the Wisconsin storms are starting to become outflow dominant? Well, we can kind of answer that question for you here. So what you're seeing here right now is red is away from the radar. So in this case, red is inflow. Red is coming into the storm, right? These are winds that we're looking at. Whereas green is your outflow. So that's coming out of these storms towards the radar unit. So as we go over time here, you will see a little bit more green starting to show up, especially on the southern part here. So some of these storms are becoming a little bit more outflow dominant. However, there is still plenty of inflow in various areas where rotation is trying to form. So we could easily see multiple tornadoes come from the storm as we roll through time here. Any types of areas where you see these sharp gradients starting to form, anywhere you get that kink that forms in this, where you get that little S shape, that is where you can quickly get those spin up tornadoes. And it only takes a few minutes for those storms to go from nothing to producing one of those embedded tornadoes like that. So that is where you get more into that QLCS type of threat here. Is you can now see we have one really organized Boeing segment here versus a bunch of semi-discrete cells that were in a line earlier. So we are getting into that QLCS mode now. And it wouldn't shock me to see the National Weather Service issue a new tornado warning out in this direction. It also wouldn't shock me for them to allow these warnings to expire. All right, I'm going to check in on our storms out in South Dakota that are destructive tagged for 90-mile-per-hour winds here, as these storms are still looking very vicious. And this mid-level rotation here is absolutely insane near Yale and Bancroft. Like, that is some really insane mid-level rotation. Okay. So it looks like this storm is ingesting winds out of the northeast via Adrian, looking at some mesoscale features here. And that's kind of what it needs. If you look at where this notch is at, it needs winds to come in for inflow if it wants to produce a tornado. To be honest with you, I'm pretty surprised that this isn't tornado warned. I know we're looking at broad mid-level rotation here, but this storm has been very powerful and was tornadic earlier. So it kind of surprises me that this one isn't tornado warned right now. The segment near Yale. Oh, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, a bookend vortex. is what Kevin's saying in the chat. All right, we're going to jump back over to Wisconsin here in a second. For Iowa and Lafayette counties here in Wisconsin. So again, these tornado warnings are no longer concerning to me. They're going to be allowed to expire, or they're going to be removed within a couple of minutes, as the rotation for these storms is along the leading edge here, and these storms are no longer, or that rotation is no longer within our tornado. We did just get a confirmed tornado now for Clark and Hamlin counties. Okay, so this is we do have a new confirmed tornado here for the storm near Yale, which again, that's why I was saying I was really surprised that this wasn't a confirmed tornado. We have a confirmed tornado here near Collins Colony, or 11 miles west of Bryant. And this was confirmed by weather spotters at 5:33 p.m., so 3 minutes ago. And the fire department also reported this tornado as well. So we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground. And this storm is looking very concerning. I mean, that mid-level rotation has been very strong for the last several minutes here. It honestly has even weakened a little bit. So I wonder if maybe this is what the tornado was kind of along this leading edge over here near Willow Lake. Because our broad mesocyclone here in the middle of this storm, which is wrapped up like crazy, it's a very, very, very powerful mesocyclone at the mid-levels here, is probably not directly what's producing this tornado. It could be, but this is still a very, very strong storm regardless, and we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground. The storm in the what? You cut out, Adrian. Okay. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, so we are seeing another area of rotation tightening right back up. This is near Fedora and Roswell. So this one is looking, honestly, even more concerning now than the other ones were earlier. So we may be looking here near Roswell at another tornado warning here pretty soon. And we did just get an extension on this tornado warning in reverse, basically, back for Bancroft and Osceola. And that was what I was talking about a minute ago, as the mid-level, the main mesocyclone for the storm looked even more concerning back near Osceola and Yale. But we did have a confirmed tornado on the front edge of this storm, and that one was near Willow Lake. So we have multiple different tornadoes possible in this same area here for Clark and Hamlin counties, as well as Beetle and Kingsbury counties. And then down near Roswell, we have another possible tornado that could see a tornado warning pop up within moments here with this storm that's near Artesian and Roswell. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I see that. So this storm is just sucking in winds for some reason, and I can see it on my METAR here too. It's just not quite as prevalent, but we can see. And by the way, our tornado warnings in Wisconsin have been lifted, so we just have tornado warnings here in South Dakota right now. But these winds are kind of coming in like northeasterly-ish, and right towards this thing. And out in Redfield, they're coming right into the storm as well. So this one is sucking in plenty of useful energy here, plenty of moisture. But again, we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground. And this one was near Willow Lake, confirmed by weather spotters and the fire department just a few minutes ago, about 5 minutes ago. So definitely a very powerful storm out here in eastern South Dakota. And then again, we may still see another tornado warning pop up here near Fedora and Roswell. I'm kind of surprised that we aren't seeing that, to be honest with you, as this looks pretty powerful out here. And this storm also has some overshooting tops reaching almost like 53,000 feet, which is pretty insane. So a couple of very, very strong storms going on here. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in New Hampshire. I'll check in on really quickly. There's just not really a close radar, unfortunately. As we do have this storm out here near Andover, Franklin, and New Hampton. That one's tagged with 60-mile-per-hour winds and some small hail. We also still have those storms going on near the Carolinas and Georgia. All of these are producing some gusty winds and small hail as well. 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail on all of these warnings here. Just 16-mile-per-hour winds near Culberson and Murphy in western North Carolina. And we did just get more severe thunderstorm warnings put in place, a couple of considerables. We do have a destructive severe thunderstorm warning still in place here in South Dakota as well for Beetle and Kingsbury counties. But in considerable severe thunderstorm warnings for up to 70-mile-per-hour winds, that's going to include Beetle, Brookings, Kingsbury, Lake, Minor, and Sanborn counties, as well as Dane, Greene, Iowa, and Lafayette counties in Wisconsin, plus Davison, Hanson, and Davison and Hanson counties in South Dakota as well. Out in Wisconsin, this is what we're looking at. These stronger storms that are continuing to blow towards Milwaukee, producing lots of damaging wind gusts, are rolling through Madison right now. And there is still a little bit of rotation along the leading edge of these storms near New Glarus and Monticello, where it is possible that we could see a spin-up tornado at any point. It's not really needing a tornado warning, of course, and there isn't one in place for good reason. But this is a very large cluster of thunderstorms here that is blowing through with some very powerful winds up to maybe 70 miles per hour in some parts. And back in South Dakota, we do have a confirmed tornado on the ground near Willow Lake as of a couple of minutes ago. It was last confirmed 8 minutes ago. Down in Tennessee, we are still watching a lot of these downbursting storms out here, where tons of these are just producing crazy outflow. I mean, literally in a giant circle around this cluster of storms, literally a perfect circle around it. There's just this crazy outflow coming from all these storms. You can see it on radar, clear as day here. I can try to outline it as best as I can, where these storms are just producing some pretty insane outflow here. As all of that mass just comes crashing down to the surface. And then we still have the storm that is confirmed tornado with an additional tornado warning out here in South Dakota. And then northwest of Sioux Falls, we have this other storm near Roswell and Howard that looks rather concerning as well. I'm still pretty surprised that we haven't seen a tornado warning put on this storm. There's a handful of spotters out there. Any concern for the cell perking up near Monroe, Wisconsin, or Warren, Illinois? In general, not particularly anything too concerning. It's kind of in the middle of this radar hole. See if Davenport will have a little bit of a better look at it. as yeah, I mean, it could definitely try to get itself going. But we can see here these outflow boundaries from a lot of these storms that have been more or less outflow dominant. So I'm not horribly concerned about it, but it's definitely one to watch. So it's a good point out there. I appreciate that. And again, this is a confirmed tornado that was near Willow Lake just about 10 minutes ago. And again, I do want to point out that the most concerning area for tornadoes over the next 2 hours or so is really going to be out ahead of this cluster into eastern South Dakota and into western Minnesota. And then we also have an isolated risk where we could see a couple more tornadoes near Milwaukee in southeast Wisconsin over the next hour or so. So that's our primary concern for tornadoes at the current moment. Looks like we have another notch trying to form west of Willow Lake here, where we could easily see another tornado get spat out not long from now. I am still pretty concerned about the storm here down near Howard and Roswell. It does just continue to look pretty threatening. I'm genuinely somewhat surprised that we haven't seen a tornado warning with it, as it has had somewhat broad but very strong rotation here. And it does kind of culminate near Roswell, where we've got just a little bit of an inflow notch that is forming visually on radar in terms of the morphology. Now, all of these storms are in considerable severe thunderstorm warning. So this is for Hanson, Lake, Minor, Sanborn, Beetle, Brookings, Kingsbury counties in, or excuse me, destructive. Wait, what? No, sorry. Considerable. My goodness, I thought I lost my mind. I was like, these aren't destructive. And they're not. These are considerable severe thunderstorm warnings tagged for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Apologies for the moment of confusion there. And then out in Wisconsin for Dane, Greene, Iowa, and Lafayette counties, we do still have this considerable severe thunderstorm warning in place as well for 70-mile-per-hour winds. These storms have weakened just a little bit as they're beginning to roll through Madison and eventually towards Milwaukee, and especially just south of Milwaukee. So that is good news. Yeah, just north of Willow Lake, definitely an area of concern for a possible second tornado to form here. The last time this tornado was confirmed was 13 minutes ago. Why are there only 28 viewers? Logan is saying. Well, that's kind of our normal. Yesterday was a little bit of an anomaly. Growth is a slow process. It is okay. It's not a big deal. I think some other creators may be live, so that may be a large part of it. All right, and that confirmed tornado warning has just been downgraded. So we no longer have a confirmed tornado, but we do still have a tornado warning in effect for Clark, Hamlin, Beetle, and Kingsbury counties in South Dakota here. We did just get another photo from Alan, one of our storm chasers out here. This was about an hour ago north of Independence in Iowa. I'm going to share this with you guys here, as this is a really beautiful photo here that Alan took of just a powerful supercell. Really, really, really gorgeous storm here with a heck of a shelf cloud. You can see all sorts of colors in there. Those really dark, deep blues getting in there with this storm. Very, very powerful one. Possibly on the right side of your screen, some of these, maybe a couple aquamarine type of shades squeaking in there that might be indicative of a hail core. That is coming out of Allen with Midwest weather. All right, the rotation that was up near Willow Lake has weakened a little bit, but the broad meso is still kicking up there. And then down in our storm near Roswell and Howard, that one has definitely weakened a lot as well. So that's good news. We did get another considerable severe thunderstorm warning on the southern end of these storms for some of the newer storms that are beginning to fire off and bring some really strong winds as well. As we can see near the surface here, this is only 3,000 feet in the air. We're seeing some pretty crazy wind values sustained up to like about 80 miles per hour at some pixels. We're seeing some of these targets. So very, very, very strong winds in basically like the majority of eastern South Dakota here, a very, very large portion of eastern South Dakota. So regardless of any tornado threat, these are extremely powerful storms here. Up to 70-mile-per-hour winds at the surface, without a doubt. And again, this tornado warning is still in place and it has about 21 minutes remaining on it, as we are getting that comma head type of shape to this storm with a very, very powerful mid-level mesocyclone here. At the mid-levels, it actually does look like it's uptrending near Willow Lake, though I don't know how well it's going to translate to the surface here. We did just get another severe thunderstorm warning on the northern half of this comma head of thunderstorms out here. So this one is going to be tagged for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So again, that just goes to show how powerful this line is. This is a very, very powerful line of storms here that is producing extremely strong winds up to 60 miles per hour, maybe even towards 70 or 80 miles per hour for sure. Looks like a lot of storms are developing on the south end of the QLCS in Wisconsin into Illinois. Yeah, we saw a couple of those a little bit ago with the one near Warren. And we're kind of storm training out a little bit here as more cells are just going to continue to fire off down this line. And that makes sense. And a lot of this is still becoming a lot more outflow dominant here. So we're going to be looking at strong winds and a little bit less of a tornado threat, but we could still see an embedded tornado spin up within this at any point. But it looks like all of these are almost entirely outflow dominant at this point. You can see these outflow boundaries getting kicked out like crazy ahead of this line. Any of the ones on the southern end would probably pose the greatest risk for a tornado. But again, our only tornado warnings on the map are out in South Dakota right now. Does outflow dominant mean the storms are weakening? Not necessarily. It just means that they're not bringing in inflow. And so you need both inflow and outflow to get rotation. Outflow dominant more so means that they are, I don't know what the best way to describe it is. They're pushing out more air than they're bringing in, essentially. So, and a lot of times with those, your threat will shift more to a straight line wind damage threat than any kind of a tornado or hail threat. Whereas isolated storms are going to bring you more of that tornado or hail threat a lot of the times. In northwestern South Dakota, we do have a bunch of storms firing off that could be producing some hail. I'm going to take a little bit of a scan of some of these cores. As we are getting some pretty strong hail cores here, lofting about 30,000 feet in the air. We are seeing some of those 60 dBz values. Those are your magentas that are in there with that storm near Bison. Down near Thunder Butte, this one is a pretty similar story. So a lot of these updrafts are pretty similar here. The one near Hereford, north of Rapid City, probably looks the most impressive to me. It is getting to around 33,000 feet in the air with those 60 dBz magenta values. And again, our main concern right now is this cluster of storms, and especially the northern part of it, with this classic comma head shape going on here, as this line of storms just continues to blow on through southeastern South Dakota and towards the southwestern part of Minnesota. Okay, sounds good, Adrian. No, there is not a confirmed tornado in South Dakota anymore. There was not long ago, but we do not have a confirmed tornado in South Dakota. We do have 2 tornado warnings in place for South Dakota for Clark, Hamlin, Beetle, and Kingsbury counties, though. So a couple of strong storms still going on, and still a very, very powerful mesocyclone going on here in the northern part of the storm. And it does look like one of those tornado warnings has now been lifted. So we're just looking at Clark and Hamlin counties here, and for good reason, in my opinion. But again, this is a very, very powerful mid-level mesocyclone here. So if it can translate down to the surface, we could definitely see that rotation produce a tornado, but it would need to tighten up first. Has this already overperformed for a 2%? I would say so, yes. In terms of the tornado threat, anyway. I do have one more photo to show you guys here. Coming out of Allen with Midwest weather. This was from earlier in Independence, Iowa. Look at the aquamarines coming through on this photo here in the center, where you can see those really, really bright colors showing up. That is your hail core. You're seeing the reflection of sun that is hitting the ice in that hail, and it's bending the light. And so you get those beautiful blues that come through, those aquamarine colors. That is indicative of some hail in this storm. So this was a very, very powerful supercell earlier, about an hour to 2 hours ago in Independence, Iowa. Really cool stuff there from Allen with Midwest weather. And again, if you haven't already, the number one thing you can do to support us is to like, comment, and subscribe. As we're watching it now, this tornado warning still out here in Clark and Hamlin counties in South Dakota. So this is for areas like Willow Lake, Vienna, and Bryant. It doesn't it doesn't concern me right this second where I think it's going to put down a tornado right now. If it did, maybe it might be near Naples or Hazel. But in general, this isn't looking to me like it's putting down a tornado right this second. It needs more time. But it is a very, very powerful mid-level mesocyclone here. And again, all of these storms are for the most part tagged with a considerable severe thunderstorm warning where you could easily have 60 mile per hour or 70 mile per hour winds at the surface from these. So very, very strong storms regardless of any kind of a tornado threat. All right, back into northwestern South Dakota. We do have all of these storms that are firing off, kind of like they're really firing off like crazy, to be honest with you. We're getting some values here extending above 75 dBZs here. And we actually do have weak low level rotation going on with this one as well. We can take a little snapshot of that hail core, and you can see this one is shooting up like a loose cannon, like a 4th of July firework here. Getting 60 dBZ values. Those are your magentas, upwards of 30,000 feet here. So very, very powerful storm. Some of these other storms also look pretty powerful as well. Really, just 60 mile per hour wind gusts and some smaller to medium sized hail is going to be the concern here. Maybe up to ping pong ball, maybe towards golf ball sized hail with a couple of these storms. These are all pretty powerful storms out here. And again, our only tornado warning on the map right now is in Clark and Hamlin counties here in South Dakota. But I don't really think it is too horribly concerning. But this is still a very strong storm that will be producing 60, 70, maybe towards 80 mile per hour winds as well. So if you're anywhere in the path of this storm, you definitely need to be taking it very seriously, regardless. All right, we're going to check in on what's going on in Wisconsin here. As these storms are still barreling towards Milwaukee, they have weakened a decent amount. Near Monticello, it's possible we're seeing a very small area where a little bit of small hail is possible. Yeah, we definitely could see some small hail, probably maybe around an inch or $half sized hail near Monticello towards Albany. But in general, this line of thunderstorms is looking like just a giant windbag here. So we're just getting all this wind blowing on through the general area of southeastern Wisconsin and eventually towards the Chicago area later this evening. You will see this is a classic trailing stratiform setup here where all of this precipitation forms behind your main line of thunderstorms as well. Just stratiform precipitation, just rain, nothing, severe out there. That's all just precipitation, just general showers and maybe a little couple strikes of lightning here as we can show lightning over the last few minutes. Most of it is contained to where we have those stronger thunderstorms. Back into Iowa, we do have a ton of storms continuing to fire off, especially near Des Moines and just northeast of Des Moines. Where these storms, we do have one severe thunderstorm warning in place here in Iowa, and that is going to be for Boone, Polk, and Story counties. This one's tagged with 60 mile per hour winds, maybe some small hail there as well. I'm not really worried about any kind of a tornado threat there. The main tornado threat is really going to be out here in South Dakota and into potentially this area here of western Minnesota as well, southwestern Minnesota. But of course, tornadoes are not our only threat today. We have quite a lot going on this evening in terms of wind and hail as well. So And again, this tornado warning is still in place. I will say that at the mid levels, it is still kind of rolling here with this mesocyclone near Willow Lake and Bryant. From the Aberdeen's point of view, the Aberdeen radar's point of view, it doesn't look quite as impressive. But it is still there. At the upper levels, though, this is a very powerful mesocyclone. So very powerful storm producing 60 to maybe 70 mile per hour winds here. All right, we're going to check in on what's going on back in the southeast. As we get towards Kentucky and Tennessee here, we are still looking at Todd County, Kentucky. And all of these storms are, what I was talking about earlier, they're just kicking out this outflow like crazy in a giant circle. These downbursting types of storms just pushing out winds in all directions as they dissipate like crazy. So you're not looking at any kind of a tornado or wind or hail threat with these, really. It's just a giant wind threat and some flooding as well. Torcast in the chat saying, love the stream following. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Happy to have you here. We also do have a flash flood warning in place for Montgomery County, Tennessee. And then in Texas for Borden, Dawson, and Scurry counties, this is just south of Lubbock, we have a flash flood warning in place there as well for some stronger thunderstorms that have developed, dumping a lot of rain. And these aren't really moving much. They're just kind of sitting there. And that's kind of why that flash flood warning is in place. We did just get a new considerable severe thunderstorm warning for this giant hail core forming. This is north of Rapid City. So this one is tagged for golf ball sized hail now. And let's take a look at this hail core because this thing's looking pretty insane. Yeah. So we can take a look at this hail core. This is a really, really impressive updraft here. You can see these silvers and whites getting in here into the mix, getting lofted almost to 30,000 feet. So this is a very, very powerful updraft here, definitely capable of producing that golf ball sized hail, maybe even a little bit larger than that, towards 2-inch hail as well. So this is a very powerful storm. We are seeing those 60 dBz values, that smaller hail being lofted upwards of 30,000 feet as well. So again, a very, very powerful storm here. It does have a little bit of rotation, very, very weak rotation going on at around 1,500 feet. So if this one is able to wrap up, it definitely could pose a little bit of a tornadic threat as well, because it is very discreet. So we're going to watch that one very closely. But our only tornado warning is here in South Dakota, and it's going to be allowed to expire in about 6 minutes here. All right, so we don't have any destructive severe thunderstorm warnings on the map, but we do have five considerable severe thunderstorm warnings on the map here, as well as one tornado warning still remaining. And all of these considerable severe thunderstorm warnings are in the state of South Dakota, as is our tornado warning. Most of it is out here in eastern South Dakota, but north of Rapid City, we are looking at that large hail core producing up to golf ball size hail, maybe towards 2-inch hail, out there just north of Rapid City. I think like 20 miles or so north of Rapid City. And we are experiencing a tiny bit of lag here in our with our upload speed. So we're trying to get that resolved. Hopefully it will resolve itself here in a second. So I apologize for things being a little bit glitchy here for a minute. Bear with me. Hopefully it will get resolved here. I just realized that our pop-up sounds were not on there. So you probably weren't able to hear any of these warnings popping up recently, but that's okay. We're continuing to roll hot fixes for a lot of our stuff right now, including updates on our website, which just came out, which is really cool. Some simple updates, a couple of bug fixes, and a couple of quality of life improvements on the website. One thing we did just add on the website is if you plug in your location or any location, you can now actually see the if you have any warnings, you can now pull a drop down menu here and read everything for the warning. So that's a new feature, which is very nice. And we also squashed some bugs as well. All right, we did just get a new considerable severe thunderstorm warning here for Perkins County, or not Perkins County. Excuse me. This one is for Clark, Codington, Dual, and Hamlin counties in South Dakota here. So this is a brand new one. Now you should be able to hear those sounds. We just got a new severe thunderstorm warning or an update on one down in Kansas. So we are continuing to roll through here. West of Sioux Falls, we are still looking at a bunch of storms in a line. Essentially, this whole thing is just one of those classic comma head scenarios where we're just rolling through in a QLCS type of event. So all these storms could be bringing 60-mile-per-hour plus winds, maybe up to 70 miles per hour. A lot of these considerable severe thunderstorm warnings are tagged for 70-mile-per-hour winds here. So our tornado warning does have 2 minutes on it. It is going to expire not long from now. Back in Wisconsin towards Milwaukee, we do have a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings still in place, as all of these storms have become pretty much fully outflow dominant here. But we are seeing a lot of gusty winds with these storms, maybe some small hail as well. So as we're getting towards the greater Milwaukee area and eventually down towards Chicago as well, all of these storms are going to be bringing pretty strong winds here. So if you're in the path of these, you definitely want to be ready for that, as you're going to have a lot of wind headed your way. All right, down in Tennessee for Benton, Carroll, and Henry counties, we are still watching this severe thunderstorm warning. Also, Houston, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Stewart counties here in Tennessee. So all sorts of counties out here in Western Tennessee. We're west of Nashville here. So all these storms are just those kind of downbursting storms producing a lot of strong wind, up to 60 mile per hour, but nothing like terribly, terribly concerning. And of course, we still have the tornado warning that is about to expire in less than a minute here in South Dakota. Back towards a Rapid City, we are still seeing actually a pair of considerable severe thunderstorm warnings now, as this one near the border of North Dakota is bubbling up quickly and potentially producing golf ball sized hail. So that's definitely something to watch. You can see how tall that one is. We may have just had a new tornado warning in South Dakota. I I don't think that was a new tornado warning. I think that was it trying to let me know that the tornado warning expired. I'm not sure what that was about. But yeah, we do have 0 tornado warnings on the map for the time being. And this is a very, very strong hail core that is down here. Very, very strong hail core. This one could easily be producing 2-inch hail here. And it is starting to notch out a little bit. I wonder if this is potentially what that, I don't know. It said Lake County in South Dakota. Now I'm a little confused. I don't know what all that was about. So maybe down here in Madison, it's possible they were issuing a new tornado warning. But it's not showing up on the map for me. And I'm not seeing any type of rotation in this. So perhaps my map just isn't updating here. Apparently, there's a new tornado warning east of Mitchell. Oh, okay. I got you. I would assume that's for this rotation near Spencer. I don't know why it's not showing up on the map for me. There it is. Okay, that was odd. We just had 2 tornado warnings show up on the map for me now. So we did just get a new tornado warning here. And this one is going to be up in Hamlin County. So this is the same storm that's been tornado warned for quite some time now. And then we had another storm near Madison and Junius headed towards Wentworth. And that one is now tornado warned as well. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that this is tornado warned. But okay. And my polling time is like very low. I don't know what the issue is. I'm not going to disable my polling. That's not I've never had that happen before where the warning took forever like that. The new one came in instantly. It was just this one down here in Lake County that didn't want to show up. But anyway, we have a couple of warnings. I'm not sure if we need exactly a tornado warning on this. But the one to the north is still going as well. And it's still got a broad mesocyclone up here at the mid levels. But perhaps a little bit of tighter rotation to the just north of Bryant or west of Haiti could be the concern with this one. It just doesn't really look that convincing to me, but all right. So we do have multiple tornado warnings here on the map now in South Dakota. And these are for Hamlin and Lake counties. We did get a new severe thunderstorm warning up in Montana for Waibo County. That's going to be the smaller storm down here that is producing up to 60-mile-per-hour winds, maybe some small hail. The one near Wolf Point, Poplar, and Brockton out here could definitely be producing some hail as well. Nothing crazy with that one, as it looks like I am running into a little bit more lag with my internet here. No, you're good, Torcast. I appreciate the help. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, but I might be having a little bit of some internet issues here. But in general, we do still have 2 tornado warnings on the map, and internet issue or not, we're going to continue to roll here. And what's up, Adrian? Oh, near Milltown. Yeah. Yeah, so we do have multiple other areas of rotation. I saw this one not long ago when I was trying to figure out where the current tornado warning actually was and why it wasn't showing up. Near Spencer and Salem, that's a more broad area of rotation. A little bit tighter near Milltown, though. And that's only at about 4,000 feet. So definitely something to watch. As yeah, it does appear that I am having some internet issues here. So I apologize for that. I'm trying to just stay rolling here and hope it resolves itself without me needing to stop stream and do anything about it. But on the map, we do have a bunch of considerable severe thunderstorm warnings in South Dakota for Brookings, Kingsbury, Lake, Minor, Meade, Clark, Codington, Dual, Hamlin, and Perkins counties. And a couple of these, like this one here north of Rapid City near Hereford and Union Center, this one could easily be producing some larger hail. What is going on with my internet here? Whoops. Keep rolling and again, hope that it resolves itself. So we're running into all sorts of issues here today. We might be good now. I think we're back and resolved the internet situation for the moment. Yeah, I apologize. I really don't know what just happened there, but yeah, we are good to go here now for at least for a second. The internet situation is resolved. But again, we do have 2 tornado warnings on the map. Out here near Haiti and Castlewood in that general vicinity, and then down near Madison as well. I will say this one down here for Lake County, I don't really, it doesn't really strike my fancy. We do have broad rotation just west of Salem near Spencer. That is some broad rotation. If it tightens up, that could definitely be a concern. And then down here near Milltown, we also have some rotation that is pretty tight, but it's not super convincing. I want to move from Georgia. This heat is disrespectful. Oh, yeah. It is hot in the southeast. It's really hot everywhere, to be honest with you. Everywhere in the eastern half of the United States is hot right now. All right, give me just 1 second here. We did just get that new severe thunderstorm warning issued for Adams, Morgan, and Washington counties. So this is out here in Colorado. So near Woodrow, near Last Chance as well, headed towards Akron. So this one's going to be tagged with some small hail, 1-inch hail, and 60-mile-per-hour winds. We also just got a new one for Houston, Humphreys, and Stewart down here, or at least an extension on this one, as it does have another 50 minutes remaining on it now. And then, of course, our tornado warnings going on in eastern South Dakota. So we will be staying with things here for quite a while tonight. Yeah, I don't know. This is just not really striking my fancy. I don't fully understand this tornado warning, but that is okay. All right. So we do have a handful of considerable severe thunderstorm warnings still on the map. And these are all out here in South Dakota. Perkins, Clark, Codington, Dual, Hamlin, Meade, Lake, Minor, Brookings, and Kingsbury counties. All in those considerable severe thunderstorm warnings where some of those are experiencing large hail. Most of them are experiencing 70-mile-per-hour winds. And it looks like a couple of these warnings will probably be lifted here. It looks like we might be getting some more issues here with the internet now. I really don't know what is going on. I've never really had issues with our internet, for years. So this is kind of just a recent thing. I really don't know what's going on. So I apologize for that. It looks like we're stable again. I don't know. No idea what keeps happening. But anyway, we're just going to keep covering things here as it looks like we are becoming a little bit more outflow dominant, especially in the south of this line of thunderstorms here in South Dakota. And then back into Wisconsin, I did want to check in on the general Milwaukee area. All of these storms are entirely outflow dominant for the most part now. So we are looking here at just a strong line of thunderstorms that's just going to continue to bring strong winds through this area. Not really much of any of a tornado threat with these. Is it actually dangerous to park under an overpass during a storm? Absolutely, for a variety of reasons. One, you're literally creating a wind tunnel on yourself, which is, you're just enhancing the wind on yourself for no reason. And then two, a lot of people have issues with underpasses in terms of they'll park there like during a storm, and then people will just slam into them. So it's really, really dangerous. You should never park under an overpass, but yeah. It restarted my broadcast, you said. I don't know if it restarted. I think maybe it just buffered for a second. I am still sporadically experiencing a little bit of connectivity issues here. We are holding steady right this second. Again, I really don't know what is causing this. But we do have 4 considerable severe thunderstorm warnings on the map right now. I'm going to go back to the one north of Rapid City, that crazy looking hail core from earlier, and take another snapshot of it here. As we can still see about 30,000 feet. We could easily be seeing golf ball size hail with this storm. A very, very powerful hail core here. So this one's tagged again with that golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. In northern South Dakota, northwestern South Dakota, same deal, 60-mile-per-hour winds and that golf ball size hail as well. All right. And then our tornado warnings are active out here in Lake and Hamlin counties. And we have seen one of these severe thunderstorm warnings get downgraded to just a general one. That's the one near the tornado warning in Madison. So we just have one considerable severe thunderstorm warning remaining on the map right now. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning here in South Dakota for Codington, Dual, and Grant as well. I think that's this one down here. Oh no, wait, what am I looking at? Okay, that's this one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So this is another downstream for the wind damage associated with these storms. Just 60-mile-per-hour winds tagged here. And again, this tornado warning has 28 minutes on it. It's probably not going to last 28 minutes. To be honest with you, I don't think it even needs to be on the map. Personally, I don't think either of these tornado warnings need to be on the map. This one near Madison never really made any sense to me. But yeah, we do still have these 2 tornado warnings on the map. So if you are in those polygons in Lake and Hamlin counties in South Dakota, definitely make sure that you're staying vigilant just in case here. You should always listen to the National Weather Service over somebody on the internet or even your local meteorologists. You should always be doing what the National Weather Service says over anybody else. All right, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Limestone and Madison counties in Alabama. So that's just west of Huntsville. I wanted to check in on this one as this storm is just kind of fired off out of nowhere here over the last couple of minutes. It does actually have a little bit of low-level rotation. We can literally just watch it come out of nothing. It just fired off kind of like crazy out of nowhere, just west of Huntsville, Alabama. So it's tagged with some gusty winds, maybe some small hail in there. It is tagged for 60-mile-per-hour winds. It is not tagged for hail at all. It is still probably too young to be producing hail, but in about 10 to 15 minutes, if it continues to uptrend, we could definitely see it produced a little bit of small hail, nothing crazy at all there. We do still have the flash flood warning in place in Tennessee for Montgomery County, that is northwest of Nashville. Isaac saying got the stream up on 3 devices. That's legendary. I appreciate these supports. For Carroll, Henry, and Weakley counties in Tennessee, we did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning. So that's going to be with these, all of these storms here that have just continued to plow off to the west. And this actually might even be a little bit of new convection because most of these were downbursting north of Nashville earlier. Yeah, so this is actually a bunch of new storms that are forming and starting to go west here. So these ones could easily be producing some strong gusty winds. I wouldn't be surprised to see a severe thunderstorm warning for wind get put in this area of Kentucky here near Mayfield and Murray, south of Paducah. That would not surprise me at all, as these storms are definitely producing some powerful winds here. Think that Alabama storm is taking advantage of the P-Watts, probably. I mean, there's just so much moisture down there in general. So usually when a storm fires off like that, it's just like you have a cap in place and just for some reason, one parcel is able to blow through it. And you have so much moisture down there in the southeast and you can just get those storms to blow up like that. All right, so we are staying with things here live. What's a PY? That's precipitable water. Just basically how much water is available in like a vertical column of the atmosphere. And we're getting this lag again. What is going on here? I apologize, guys. I really don't know what's going on with my lag. But again, we are going to try to stay with everything here. Yeah, out in Lake County, this one never really concerned me much at all. And up in Hamlin County, same deal, honestly. I don't really think we need tornado warnings on these. But again, like I said earlier, always make sure that you're listening to the National Weather Service, not me, or even your local meteorologist. Definitely do what the National Weather Service says. I will say, though, these warnings do not particularly concern me in any type of way for Haiti and Madison out here in eastern South Dakota. Yeah, that's a pretty good working definition from Torcast there in the chat of PWatt. Again, I really just have no idea what's causing all this lag, so I really apologize, guys. For us in the South, it means when we walk outside, the heat and humidity will take the air out of our lungs within 5.2 seconds. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Again, we do still have, okay, and there we go. We just got that severe thunderstorm warning for Callaway County in Kentucky, like I was talking about for Murray. So that's just going to be tagged with those 60-mile-per-hour winds. It really wouldn't shock me to see this potentially upgraded to a considerable, because the winds up here are really particularly strong, rolling through areas like New Concord, Midway, Hazel, and Murray. We actually did just get a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for the southern half of this in Tennessee. That one is tagged for 70-mile-per-hour winds. It really wouldn't shock me to see this one up here for Callaway County in Kentucky to get upgraded to be the same. Up in Minnesota, we did just get a severe thunderstorm warning, so this is ahead of our tornado warn cell, as a tornado warning in Madison was canceled. We just have the one remaining in Hamlin. But these storms are still strong and producing 60, maybe 70-mile-per-hour winds as they head towards the border of Minnesota here. So for a little bit of a reference point, this is kind of what we're looking at. So some pretty strong storms out here. All right. They do just keep shrinking this tornado warning down a little bit. I just don't think it needs to be there at all. But yeah, that's just me. That's just me. All right, let's check on Colorado, where we did have a couple of storms firing off. Really, what we have near Woodrow now is this like cluster of storms where we actually might have a little bit here of very, very weak rotation at around 3,000 feet. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more there, slightly higher up in the atmosphere. But again, this is not just one updraft. We do have another updraft near Woodrow. So if this combines and we get one dominant storm out of it, it's possible that we see some strong, like a stronger updraft that could produce some large to very large hail there, and some stronger winds. But I'm not really expecting much of a tornado threat, which is good. Out in Carter County, Montana, that is right here at the border of South Dakota, for reference. We are still watching this relatively powerful storm here that could be producing some small hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then, of course, we have this considerable severe thunderstorm warning up here in what is this? I think this is Perkins County. Yeah, this should be Perkins County, South Dakota here, where this one is tagged for golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds as well. And then down in Tennessee, we have this other considerable severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds. And like I said earlier, as I guess that's the Hopkinsville. From Paducah, we can see some of these winds are really, really strong here through New Concord and Murray. And this is only at 2,000 feet in the air. This really should be a considerable severe thunderstorm warning, in my opinion, for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And then out in Hamlin County, South Dakota, we still have our only tornado warning on the map, which is going to be lifted any minute here, I would think. I don't think it ever needed to be on the map, in my humble opinion. But when this one gets lifted, we will effectively have 0 tornado warnings on the map. All right. Logan saying we got some storms from Canada attempting to get into Buffalo. We can check in on the Northeast. Why not? Out near Buffalo, yeah, we do have a couple of storms out there trying to make their way towards Buffalo. None of these look terribly concerning. Could definitely bring some gusty winds to the Northeast, though. A lot of rain as well. Not expecting any kind of a tornado or hail threat there. Continued the Castlewood South. They continued this warning? I mean, I'm seeing literally nothing here. I have no idea why this is on the map, genuinely. Yeah, as of 2 minutes ago, they confirmed they are keeping this warning. So it's only got 15 minutes remaining. I really have no idea why. But yeah, it's there. Oh, we got Derek back in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. How are you this evening? We did actually just get a considerable severe thunderstorm warning on this. I don't know how long. Okay, this was actually, yeah, just now. Okay. A couple of minutes ago, the northern part of the storm was re-upgraded to a considerable for 70-mile-per-hour winds. So this one is going to be up here for Codington, Dual, and Grant counties in South Dakota. And we also still have considerable severe thunderstorm warnings in place for Perkins, Hamlin, and Meade counties in South Dakota as well. Plus Benton, Carroll, and Henry counties in Tennessee. Derek saying, doing good, was hoping to get some storms here in southeast North Dakota. Yeah, stayed south of you, unfortunately. Logan saying maybe it's bad chaser data. Honestly, I doubt it because all of this is just listed as radar indicated rotation. They haven't cited anything. I really just, I have no idea why this tornado warning is on the map. So again, we are tracking this tornado warning out here, which is still in effect for Hamlin County in South Dakota. Down west of Sioux Falls, I will say, this storm could definitely produce a little bit of a problem with some gustier winds and maybe some hail here, as we do have definitely very, very heavy rain in this. Maybe not getting in the form of significant hail. This one is tagged with half-dollar sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, though. What is the terrain like in this area of South Dakota? It's all these beautiful, rolling, green, grassy hills. It's not anything super. And we're getting this lag again. I really don't know what's going on. But it's yeah, it's these beautiful grassy rolling hills out there in South Dakota, in the southeastern half of South Dakota. Yeah, I'm sorry guys about all this lag that we're getting. I really have no idea what's causing this. We've never really had any issues prior to today. We do have 11 minutes remaining on this tornado warning, and I literally can't fathom why this is still on the map. I mean, literally, I have no idea what this could possibly be on the map for. Yeah. No clue, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to continue to stay with it either way, just in case there is a little bit of a tornadic threat there for areas like Castlewood, Haiti, west of Clear Lake, out here in eastern South Dakota. Maybe the National Weather Service watches and wants to troll. I doubt that's what it is, but Kaysen said you had Greek food for dinner. That's awesome. What'd you have? A gyro? All right, let's check in on what's going on in Wisconsin again, as these storms are continuing to barrel towards Milwaukee, getting towards that general vicinity now. As we can see that outflow boundary where all of these winds are just blowing on through the area here. Really, a lot of the storms with this cluster are beginning to fall apart entirely. So that is good news for the evening here, as the severe weather risk is really going to significantly decline for this portion of the Midwest, really. Now, it's not, you can't entirely rule out some storms getting going as they make their way into Michigan a little bit later on. So we can look at the Grand Rapids radar and see that there's nothing out here. All this air hasn't been tapped into yet. They've gotten plenty of daytime heating, and these storms will gain a little bit of fuel as they cross the Lake Michigan. In Minnesota, we did just get a upgrade on this severe thunderstorm warning, which is downstream. So they upgraded it to a considerable with 60 mile or 70 mile per hour winds. Yeah, my house is being McDonald's Wi-Fi right now. I have no idea what's going on. I apologize, guys. I am actively kind of troubleshooting it, trying to figure out what's going on. So How was I not following Hunter Hurley on Twitter? I just happened to be like glancing at his page and it said follow back. There's just simply no way I wasn't already following him. That's really interesting. I'm a broadcast engineer in the TV industry. Technical issues happen. You learn from it and get even better. Yeah, I mean, literally, I don't know what there is to learn. I think it's just my provider right now. I mean, I'm on LAN. I'm not wireless, you know? I've got Ethernet plugged in. I don't know what's going on. I do know that Spectrum is, or maybe it's AT&T. Somebody's installing fiber in our neighborhood, so it could be to do with that. I have no idea what's going on, though, with that. But that isn't supposed to affect us. If I had to take a guess, due to the nature of fiber, he has coax/cable. I don't know. I think I mean we have really good internet. I really have no idea what is causing this. It could be the heat. I don't know. We did get a considerable severe thunderstorm warning in southwestern, excuse me, Kansas for a pretty strong thunderstorm out here near Richfield and Johnson that could easily be producing some larger hail. So this one is tagged for golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds here. And we are still looking at a couple of new severe thunderstorm warnings getting issued. We should have one that pops up here in a second out in Wisconsin. And again, this is just something's up with my internet tonight. So yeah, we're just gonna have to figure it out the best we can. There it is. So that one just popped up here, and this is for generally headed towards the Milwaukee area. So for 60-mile-per-hour winds. One thing you'll notice here is that these storms are not, looking, at least in some of these areas here. It's so close to the radar. So it looks like there's no storm there, but there is. It's we're just pretty close to the radar here. We can actually use this terminal radar, and that might help us out a little bit. As you can see, some of these storms are rolling on through Waukesha and towards the general Milwaukee area. It could bring some 60-mile-per-hour winds with those. All right, this tornado warning does have 4 minutes left, and then it is going to be allowed to expire. When it does expire, I may go ahead and try and reboot the router and see if we can figure out what in the world is causing this issue here. We may restart the broadcasts once I can troubleshoot in a little while. Depends on the router. If it's an all-in-one internet service provider provided modem/router combo, they are notorious for needing the good old power off and on. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, I don't know what the exact internet situation is. Our tornado warning was just lifted, by the way. So we have no tornado warnings on the map. And in my opinion, we really shouldn't have had any on the map for the last like 30 minutes when we did either. But we are down to no tornado warnings on the map for the time being, which is good news. But we do still have like 7 considerable severe thunderstorm warnings in place through Kansas, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Tennessee. Most of these are tagged for 70-mile-per-hour winds, but there's a couple of hail producers out in northwestern South Dakota, as well as down in Kansas. We have a hail producer there as well. Yeah, what's up, Adrian? Hmm. Cool. All right, so Adrian's just giving me a little bit of an update about the next 2 hours and what we're looking at. So we are looking at the tornado potential to be the greatest really out in this area that I've circled here in white associated with this Boeing segment. Most of these would be essentially embedded tornadoes within this kind of Boeing segment cluster line of storms. But there's also a little bit of a tornado risk associated with this cluster going on down here in southwestern Kansas here. So with time, those photographs will improve a little bit as we get the introduction of the low-level jet. That is definitely something to watch for the next like 2 hours or so this evening. But our tornado threat is definitely going to diminish a decent amount. Yeah, and then back into northwestern South Dakota, we could definitely see a little bit of the same thing as well with some of these discrete cells that have fired off here. Those photographs may improve with time, and if they do, and any of them can remain discrete, we could definitely see a little bit of a tornado risk begin to elevate itself into the equation here, there in northwestern South Dakota as well. So a lot to think about, a lot to watch here. And again, we are no tornado warnings on the map. I know my overlay hasn't updated yet, but we do have like 24 severe thunderstorm warnings on the map, including 6 considerable severe thunderstorm warnings. And those are going to be all the way from South Dakota through one in Kansas, one in Minnesota, and one in Tennessee. Hello, Lorian. That's not even bad. Lorian, a little bit of an update. I'm having some internet issues, so in a little while we may stop the broadcast for a bit and restart. Try to get my internet restarted, so we would be offline for like maybe 10 minutes or so as I try to figure it out. That's a maybe. Not 100% chance that that will happen, but we are trying to work through some internet issues. I do have a little bit of a video here from Storm Chaser Allen with Midwest weather that I can show you guys here in a second. I am trying to download that really quick. See if I can show you guys that. As he was storm chasing out in Iowa earlier and did catch a brief weak tornado up there near Independence and what was it, like Strawberry Hill or something in Iowa? What was it called, that town? Oh gosh. What was it? Strawberry Point. That's what it was. Strawberry something. As here's that video here. Looks like we have a little bit of a time lapse here of Alan's chase. So this is really cool that we can show on air here. Look at that shelf cloud moving from a right to left across your screen. There's Alan himself on the side of your screen. That's pretty funny. Looking around, enjoying the show. You can see this shelf cloud just blowing through. That is really, really beautiful here. Really, really cool stuff. And this is looks like to be a time lapse of his entire chase. This is incredible. You can see that inflow being brought in with that scud on the center left of your screen. You can see how green everything is turning here with time. This was definitely a really powerful and photogenic storm here. This is really gorgeous stuff coming in from Alan with Midwest weather. This is awesome. Really a breathtaking storm here. Now he's kind of in that bear's cage environment. And you can see those aquamarines in the center of your screen. They might not last that long, but that's where those that hail core is reflecting some of those blues into there as he's kind of looking up into the gut of this storm here. It looks like we are going to see him drive away. Really fast windshield wipers here on the time lapse. You can still see that scud. This is actually really cool. I'm going to pause for a second and rewind and show this. Look at this scud at the top of your screen that is still being brought into the storm this direction. So this thing was still bringing in inflow at the low levels. And it was moving fast enough, that inflow, where it was producing some condensed scud. So that was really cool. I'm going to play through this one more time, as this is a really cool time lapse from the majority of Alan's chase this evening. Just a really powerful supercell up near Independence, Iowa. Just see that shelf cloud up there just blowing through. Absolutely gorgeous storm here. Now, this is just really, really cool. I love how you can see how blue everything is here, and then it starts to become really green as this storm starts to roll through. And look at those waves rolling through as that wind picks up here in the shelf nearby. And it looks like he had almost a little bit of a notch going on there. That wasn't tornadic, but just a little bit of low-level rotation on the leading edge of this storm as well. Oh yeah, he most certainly had a little rotation going on out here. Nothing impressive that would produce a tornado, but a little bit of low-level rotation. So that's really cool. And this almost, to me, looks like an inflow stinger here with all of this condensed tunnel of cloud and scud coming into the storm. And you can just see how beautiful these aquamarines in the middle of your screen are with that hail core reflecting some of that. This was a gorgeous storm here that Alan captured up in Iowa earlier this afternoon. What an awesome treat it is to look at this. This is a really, really cool time lapse here from Alan. So shout out Alan. He's in the chat right now. Alan Geiger 5237. Subscribe to him and Midwest Weather if you haven't. That is a gorgeous time lapse. Really, really cool. I appreciate you sharing that with us, Alan. We might just upload that raw right to the YouTube channel. That is really beautiful. That is really, really awesome stuff there from Alan with Midwest Weather, one of our storm chasers here at WillBrattonWx. And actually, it's the storm chasing group that we're affiliated with. That's the only one of our chasers that is not an individual, is a group, Midwest Weather. And that's Alan Geiger chasing with them. I believe it was Mason who was in the studio this afternoon as well doing the production. We do have a considerable flash flood warning, by the way, that was put in place in Texas. I don't know how long ago this was put in place. It looks about 40 minutes ago. I missed it. But this was in Borden, Dawson, and Scurry counties. It's going to last for another 2 hours, basically, here. So this is a very, very concerning situation with how much rain has fallen in a very dry area down here south of Lubbock. Back north of Rapid City, we are still watching this storm, which is probably producing up to golf ball sized hail near Union Center in Enning. And then into Kansas, we have this storm over here also producing up to golf ball sized hail. And then in Minnesota, in South Dakota, we're watching these storms roll on through that are producing 60 or 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys. And again, we are going to probably end the stream and restart it here, restart my internet and everything in a little while, maybe in like 10 minutes or so, because I'm getting all sorts of internet issues and I really don't know what the issue is, but we will be coming back tonight. I know the stream is buffering a lot and I apologize for that, but we're just going to continue to roll on with the coverage until we're at a better place where I feel better about rebooting the broadcast, probably in about 10 minutes here, maybe 15 max. We got Alan Toyokawa in the chat saying from Dodge County, Wisconsin, that was a wild storm. Or from Dodge County, I think, maybe, or Dodge County. That was a wild storm. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. And again, I really apologize for all the lag. I have absolutely no idea what's causing this, but we are going to have a resolution in not too long from now, hopefully. Yeah. I will say our severe thunderstorm warning that was considerable tagged, straddling the border of Minnesota and South Dakota, has been downgraded to a just a regular severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. On the Minnesota side of the border, it is still tagged for 70-mile-per-hour winds as of right this minute. We are entering a little bit of a radar hole, though. Still staying with these storms here. No tornado warnings on the map. We did have a couple of confirmed tornadoes so far today. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning for Meade, Perkins, and Zibic counties, or Zebic counties out here in South Dakota. So this is just that line of storms, or not line. It was a bunch of different storms. It's now forming a cluster. So a little bit of an MCS action going on here. So this is definitely one to watch here in South Dakota as it starts to move off towards areas like Red Elm and Dupree or Dupree. No, I did not see that. Okay. In Iowa, we do have a flash flood warning that I think just popped up here. Yeah, this was like 11 minutes ago. I didn't see this. Emergency management have reported some flash flooding going on in this area. So this is for Black Hawk, Grundy, Marshall, and Tama counties. What's up, Adrian? Okay. We do have a lot of hail going on out here in Colorado. Wow. You were not kidding. So we were looking at this one a little while ago near Woodrow, but man, it has uptrended. Let's take a look at that hail core. Whew. That's an absolute monster of a hail core here. So only getting to about 30,000 feet are these 60 dBz values, but this is a very dense hail core. And I think we have some of those silvers and grays getting mixed into there too. It's just a little hard to see. But yeah, this is a very, very strong hail core here. So quite the powerful hail core out here in Colorado. So this is out here in Morgan and Washington counties in Colorado, where we have a very, very strong hail core going on. A little bit of a rotation near Linden as well. I don't know how elevated this storm is. I'll turn on METAR and see if I can figure out what the dew points are looking like in this area. Yeah, dew points are in the 50s, the low to mid 50s. So I don't expect that this storm is surface based enough to produce a tornado, but it definitely has some rotation, might produce a funnel cloud. But regardless of that, a juicy hail core on this thing. You're lagging pretty bad, Adrian, or maybe that's on my end. It might be my fault because my internet's been acting up all night. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you for changing the title, Lorian. I forgot to switch it a couple of minutes ago when that tornado warning expired. Okay, so this hail was just, or this severe thunderstorm warning was just upgraded to a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for 2-inch hail. Okay. We do also have a tornado possible tag on one of these severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm guessing it's the ones near the border here. It's probably this one. Nope, not that one. Yep. Okay, so it's these ones down here that are headed eventually towards Sioux Falls in southeastern South Dakota. Thanks. Huh? In a minute. Okay. Just let me know. All right. All right, I just got some food here. So I think what we're probably going to do is take a break for about 10, 15 minutes while I eat and fix this internet situation, hopefully. We're going to reboot the router and everything and see if we can get this fully resolved so that we can roll through the rest of the evening. So I think we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast here, but we will be back. So do not fear. But thank you guys for sticking with us through the lag. For those who have been here, we're going to try and resolve that. And we'll be back rolling in just a little bit. So we'll see you guys soon.